In this video, I want to show you my in-play football betting strategy for detecting and then profiting from late goals. Late goals are an absolute goldmine in football betting and some of the most satisfying bets to land. Bookmakers struggle to price up late goals efficiently, which is how a solid filtering system can take advantage. Anyway, I'll now walk you through how to apply it step by step so you can start using it straight away and on matches kicking off later today. But before we get into the phases of the system, you need to understand the logic behind it. Late goals don't happen randomly, they tend to happen in matches where the conditions for a goal already exist. High attacking intent, open play, and teams that are still pushing forward late in the game. At the same time, the price on the next goal market increases as time passes. So what you're doing here is combining those two things. You're identifying matches where a goal is likely, but the odds have drifted to a point where the price makes sense. Once you understand that core idea, the execution becomes a lot simpler. Okay, so let's start with phase 1. And this is where most of the work is done. This is all about identifying the right matches before they even kick off, because not every match is suitable for this system. You want to focus on matches that are likely to produce goals, matches that have attacking intent built into them from the start. And this is where you can use the Statto app to your advantage. Instead of manually searching through leagues and fixtures, you can simply use the over 2.5 goals or over 3.5 goals prompts. The artificial intelligence scans leagues all over the world and builds you a short list of matches that show strong goal potential based on the data, so before the matches even begin, you already know which games are worth paying attention to later on, and that saves you a huge amount of time while keeping your approach structured. When I first started out, I used to jump into matches randomly, just based on what I fancied or what was on TV, and that was a massive mistake because most of those games were never good candidates for late goals in the first place. Once you start filtering properly at this stage, everything else becomes much easier. Let me give you a quick example here. I am logged into the Statto app and I can go to the Premium Bets menu and select the over or under 3.5 goals option. Once you click to confirm, this tells the artificial intelligence to scan all the matches across the world for the very best 3.5 goals predictions for the day. We can sit back and relax while it generates. Now, if I want to create a shortlist to look for late goals, I can add the matches which Statto indicates for overs to my shortlist. I also like to repeat the process for the over 2.5 goals and have a nice shortlist of around 10 matches to head into the evening with. And I can then repeat that process every day to get Statto will find the shortlist for me. Anyway, if you want to try the software for yourself, then click the links in the video description, or I will leave a QR code on the screen for you to scan. It will be an absolute game changer for you if you like to bet on over 2.5 goals or over 3.5 goals like me. By the way, if you like videos like this and want to see more on this subject, remember to click the like button. It tells YouTube to send you more of this kind of content. And while you are there, you should hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss a system or strategy video. This way you can see our videos as soon as they come out, and some will be time sensitive, so you have to act fast. Anyway, let's move on to phase 2, is where you assess the match while it's actually being played. And this is where you're looking for confirmation that the game is living up to expectations. The first thing to look at here is the total expected goals in the match. As a rule of thumb, you want to see around 2.5 expected goals or higher across both teams combined. That tells you the match has already created enough chances to support another goal, but it's not just about the total. You also want to look at how the XG has been built. Is it coming from sustained pressure or just one big chance earlier in the game? Ideally, you want to see consistent attacking activity, shots on target, dangerous moments, both teams getting into good areas, because that tells you the match is still active, still open, and still capable of producing another goal. A match can have decent XG on paper, but be completely flat in the second half, and those are the ones you want to avoid. You're not betting on what happened in the first half, you're betting on what's happening now. Now, phase 3 is all about the game state, and this is one of the most important parts of the system because certain scorelines naturally lead to late goals and others don't. The ideal scenarios are where the match is still open and both teams have a reason to push forward. So for example, if it's 0-0 or 1-1 and both teams are trying to win, that's a strong setup. If one team is leading 1-0 or 2-1, the losing side is going to commit players forward, which opens the game up even more. That creates space, counterattacks, and often leads to late chances. On the other hand, you need to be careful with matches where the intensity drops. If it's 1-1 and both teams look happy to settle, sitting deeper, slowing the game down, then the probability of another goal drops significantly. And this is where you need to make a decision. If only one team is pushing for a winner, you might be better off backing that team in the match odds market instead of going for another goal. So this phase is really about reading the intent of the game. Out of curiosity actually, how often do you see a 1-1 late in a match and just assume a goal is coming without really thinking about whether both teams are actually trying to win it? Because that's where a lot of bettors get caught out. Now, phase 4 is where you filter out the bad situations, and this is just as important as finding the good ones, because a lot of losing bets come from forcing entries in matches that don't meet the criteria. One of the biggest red flags is when the tempo of the game drops. If players are going down easily, taking time over restarts, making slow substitutions, all of that kills momentum, and when the momentum goes, the chances usually go with it. You also want to avoid matches that feel controlled rather than open. Some games just have that chess match feel, where teams are structured, disciplined, and not taking risks. Those are not the games you want for late goals. Even if the stats look decent, the flow of the game matters just as much. I learned this the hard way. There were plenty of times where I'd see decent numbers on paper and jump in, ignoring the fact that the game had clearly slowed down, and more often than not, those matches would just drift to a finish without another real chance. So this phase is about discipline. If the conditions aren't right, you simply don't bet. Finally, phase 5 is your entry point, and this is where everything comes together. You're looking to back the next goal market, which means taking the next overs line based on the current score. So if the score is 1-1, you're backing over 2.5 goals. If it's 2-1, you're backing over 3.5 goals. You're always targeting one more goal in the match. In terms of price, you want to aim for odds of around 2.0 or higher. This isn't a magical number. It just makes the maths easier over the long term. At even money, you only need to be right around half the time to break even, and anything above that becomes profit. You'll often see these prices appear around the 75th to 85th minute, but the timing should always depend on the game. If the pressure is building and the conditions are right, that's when you enter, not just because the clock says so. And it's worth mentioning here, you will have losing runs with this system. That's completely normal. Even in perfect setups, not every match will produce a late goal. The key is that over a large sample size, the edge comes from consistently selecting the right situations at the right price. Now, once you've found a match that ticks all the boxes, the next step is how you actually manage your staking and place the bet properly, because this is where a lot of bettors undo all the good work they've just done. The first thing to understand is that this system is built around repetition and consistency. You're not relying on one perfect bet. You're relying on a series of well-selected situations over time, so your staking needs to reflect that. A simple and effective approach is to use a fixed stake on every qualifier. That might be 1 unit per bet, and for most people that will be somewhere between 1 and 2% of your total bankroll. The key here is consistency. You're not increasing your stake because the last bet lost, and you're not increasing it because you feel confident about a particular match. Every bet is treated exactly the same. This removes emotion from the process and protects your bankroll during losing runs, which will happen. At odds of around 2.0, it's completely normal to lose a few bets in a row. You might lose 3, 4, even 5 on the bounce. That doesn't mean anything has gone wrong. It's just part of how probability plays out. What matters is that over time, your winning bets more than cover those losses. Now, when it comes to placing the bet itself, the process is very straightforward. You're always backing the next overs line based on the current score. So if the score is 1-1, you're backing over 2.5 goals. If it's 2-1, you're backing over 3.5 goals. You're simply saying that one more goal will be scored in the match. In terms of timing, you're usually entering somewhere around the 75th to 85th minute, but only when the conditions we've discussed are still present. You're not entering just because the clock says so. You're entering because the game is still open, still active, and still showing signs of another goal. When placing the bet, it's important to focus on getting the best possible price. Even small differences in odds make a big impact over a large number of bets. That's why many bettors prefer using an exchange for this type of approach, as it often offers slightly better value compared to standard bookmakers. And finally, once the bet is placed, you leave it alone. No cashing out early because the game goes quiet for a few minutes. No reacting emotionally to every attack or missed chance. You've already done the hard part. You've identified the right match, waited for the right moment, and taken the right price. At that point, the outcome is out of your control, and that's exactly how it should be. And guys, this is where using something like the Statto app becomes a serious advantage. Instead of spending hours trying to find the right matches, you can use artificial intelligence to instantly generate a short list of high goal potential games before they even kick off. You simply select the relevant goal-based prompts and the app will highlight matches that already show strong attacking profiles. So rather than guessing which games might produce late goals, you're starting from a short list of matches that are already statistically strong candidates. From there, you simply monitor those matches and apply the system as the game develops. It's a much faster, more structured way to approach it, and it removes a lot of the guesswork that leads to bad decisions. If you want to start using that, just click the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen. So when you break it all down, this system is really about one thing: putting yourself in the right situations and avoiding the wrong ones. You're not chasing late goals. You're identifying matches that are already telling you a goal is likely and then waiting for the price to catch up. If you found this useful, remember to smash the like button. It tells YouTube to show you more of this kind of content. You should also hit the subscribe button and notification bell so that you get all of our new videos as soon as they are released, especially the time-sensitive ones. There's another video on the screen right now that's a really good one, so go and check that out next. I'll see you over there.